Thank you for tuning in to the third episode of Top Tier Talks. This talk is going to be a little different because I do actually have someone that I'm talking to instead of just talking to a camera. So this is going to be kind of an open conversation to, how porn affected our lives and ended up affecting our relationship. So my husband joins me here today, and, we'll kind of be hearing a woman's side and then also getting a men's perspective, because women think majorly different than men. And so kind of gives us a little bit of a glimpse into a men's world, the men's mind. And, hopefully we could help some other couples that are kind of going through the same thing. But what's your name?
Well, I'm Tyler Noble, husband of Alexis also Noble, and it's great to be here. I'm glad that you invited me, and it's time to get into it.
Okay. And I didn't hold you against your will.
No, not at all. I actually wanted to do this.
You're willing.
Yeah. 100%.
Why is it that you are here and are doing this? As difficult as it may be, why is it that you're sitting here having this conversation with me and, letting in so many people to our experience and, our personal life?
Well, I think it's after being out of it and delivered from pornography, it's time to truly discuss how it affected, not only my life, but our life together.
Yeah.
And, just to bring that awareness to the people that are in situations or have been in situations and don't know how to go about it.
Yeah. How to even talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think this type of conversation is so avoided. It's so uncomfortable, so sensitive. Like I've said it in the 2 podcasts before, how absolutely uncomfortable this conversation is to have with yourself and with other people, and let alone someone that you love and that you care about, that, you don't want to see that dark side, of you. And so I think it's commendable. Hopefully that's the right word.
Yeah.
Commendable that you're here today and being open to kind of sharing it.
Absolutely. And it's when you're in it, it's something that you feel like it's only hurting yourself. Mm. So if it's only hurting you, why do you need to extend it to other people? Mm. If it's just it's just within. Mm. And the reality of it is, it's, even though it might be hurting yourself, it actually plays a huge factor in other people's lives, and it played a huge factor into your life. Yeah. And I didn't see it in that way at the time. And it took a lot of looking myself in the mirror and a lot of conversations with you to truly understand that. Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard. Yeah. And then obviously everything that I've learned so far with it, such a trip. So crazy how much that it does play such a factor. It's as addictive as cocaine, addictive as, alcohol, or all the way up into methamphetamines, trip. And so it's learning how coming in with porn into a relationship or, really a marriage, that, studies show that the men who watch it, and also learning that the women who accept it are more likely to accept infidelity and more likely to, accept the
the craziness that porn does bring into a relationship. And, you know, I thought back to the other day when we were kind of sitting here and talking about this, and you had said, you turned and looked at me and said, you know, thank you. You're like, and I think it took, what, 2 years to kind of finally sit there and say that and be like, you know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, thank you for being strong in the fact that you wanted better and you like weren't going to take anything less than what it is that I knew that I deserved as, you know, a wife and as a woman. And that was such a great relief to, you know, hear that. But
no, yeah, I am like looking back at it. It took so long to come out of that darkness that obviously when I'm in it, I'm not thinking that I hurt you so much. So now looking on the other side of it, like me saying thank you is just like, I feel delivered in every single way. And I'm looking back on it. I'm reflecting on it and I'm seeing how it feels like you truly helped me get out of it.
yeah.
And I think if you weren't around, I'd be struggling till this day.
Yeah, but I think as much as I played a factor in it, I think the only factor that I really played was just catching you. And so you had already told me from the beginning that, you know, porn hurt your heart, kind of. Like every time that you had watched it, you'd kind of felt like you knew that it was wrong.
Yeah,
basically.
Guilt, the shame.
Yeah. And so you were in that shame cycle continually. And so you knew that sooner or later you were going to like be delivered from it. I just think it happened a lot sooner than you might have expected it. And I think it happened a lot sooner than, you know, the generations before us, you know. And so I think regardless of me being in the picture, I think your heart, your soul, your spirit wanted better and wanted like more for yourself. And I don't think, as much as I could say, you know, as much as I could say like, change for us, change for me, like that did not happen.
Yeah.
You know, you changed for yourself, you changed for, you know, the better of your life and your heart, because, you know, learning how much that it can affect mind, body, and soul and your heart, like that's the key. So I think, I mean, you could speak on that.
No, yeah, and I think I never had anyone that openly like went against porn or just like called it out for what it is.
Yeah.
So like you being that person like gave me a better understanding. And obviously you caught me. However, like you say, like I was the one who changed. I was the one who wanted change.
Yeah.
I was the one who had to look myself in the mirror and understand that if I want to lose my family or myself even more, then this is the cycle that I am going to stay on.
Yeah.
But if I want better, then it has to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thank you for truly like calling me out, like actually putting that information and that wisdom in my head about what porn does to how porn affected me and affected us as a collective.
Yeah. Well, like we, from the beginning, so like we were dating, we were long distance, we, you know, had that space to actually have some really uncomfortable conversations.
Absolutely.
You know, that most people probably wouldn't get if they were together. So it was a lot easier to just be like, hey, like, what is it that you think about this?
Yeah.
And I remember our first conversation about it. And I was like, what is it that you think about it? What is it that you see it as? And you had even said, like, you know, I watched it. You know, I had, you know, my days, my nights, and, you know, I don't watch it anymore. I think that at that point you just weren't watching it. You weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
And so I was very vocal on the fact that I did not want porn in our relationship.
Yeah, you were.
And so it's very stern and firm on the fact of like, you know, this is not gonna fly. But that was only because, you know, I dealt with it in multiple other ways. I dealt with it with myself, you know, having that porn addiction. I dealt with it with my family member who I was living with. And so it was like, you see so many different sides and know that it is so it is so negative and it is so, you know, intense that I just didn't want that in our relationship.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like going back to like the heart, when we had that conversation the very first time, like my heart knew, like I wasn't watching it and my heart already knew that porn is bad. Porn is like, obviously, like I feel bad when I watch porn. I feel shameful. I feel the guilt.
Yeah.
And at that time I wasn't watching it. So like going like fast forwarding to when like I started watching it again, like I didn't see those things. And I like, instead of me being open and being like, babe, like this is what I'm doing, I'm struggling, I hid it. Like I put it in the closet so that you wouldn't feel everything that I was going through.
I think that's a testament to how dark porn is.
Yeah.
You know, you're not hiding something that's good.
Not at all.
You know, when you're a kid, you know that you're not supposed to be eating that candy. And so you go and grab the candy and then you go and stuff it behind, you know, I think I always stuffed like my candies behind my pillow. Oh. Yeah. And so I always got caught with candies under my pillow. It's because, you know, I was trying to hide it. I knew that I wasn't supposed to eat it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I kind of look at that as porn. Like if it was so good, if it was so great, and if it was so like freeing and normal, then why does everyone hide it? Yeah. Why do you kind of stuff it away in that little black box behind everything, you know?
And hope that no one knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or finds out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Absolutely. I think also being a boy growing up or a man, like porn is so, it's like we idolize porn and we brag about it and, you know, and it's like brag about the people that you watch in it and like growing up in that way. Yeah. Growing up in that way, you're not seeing it or viewing it in like this is bad. Like,
because it's normal.
Yeah. It's normalized. Absolutely. So like that plays a huge factor and it just makes it easier to like, I guess just like hide it, you know, like hide what you actually do behind closed doors rather than just bragging about it to everyone. And so it's not going to make me want to.
Well, now you're not bragging about it because as you're older, obviously I've learned that the longer you watch it, the deeper you dive into the aggressive things, the, you know, rape, abuse, you know, all of the like child content. And so it's like, you're probably not bragging about it now because you've kind of dug yourself deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And so, you know, thankfully that wasn't the case with us. You know, ours was a little bit of a different situation. I think you were kind of in the more vanilla side from what I've seen, you know, like kind of saw everything and what it is that you were looking at, what you were searching up, and like that's a different story.
Yeah.
But you know,
but like if I kept watching,
you have no idea.
Exactly.
No idea.
Could
that
have
next
mattered.
thing.
Yeah.
That would have stimulated, you know, your brain, your dopamine system, and you know,
it's like only a matter of time.
Yeah. literally that next thing, that next hit for you type of thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think it definitely starts with uncomfortable conversations. You know, I was able to bring it up because of my past and because of my childhood and, you know, my teenagerhood. Is that the same thing? You know?
Yeah.
And so it was like I've been through it. I've, you know, been delivered from it. I was delivered from it, you know, at 17. And so I was a little bit younger in the sense of like, I actually know that this is harmful. And so I was able to be like, you know, hey, you know, do you think this is harmful too? Or is it gonna, you know, play a factor?
Exactly.
And so it starts with the uncomfortable conversations. It starts with asking those questions, but like being mindful and like non-judgmental, because, you know, obviously in your heart, I knew for a fact that you weren't darker, you know, dirty, you know, whatever, you know, I don't know what kind of emotions come up when you do it. So like more shameful, I guess, you know, in those negative emotional sets. But, you know, I didn't see you as that. You know, I saw you as you're stuck in this, and your heart and your soul was like screaming to just be let out. And so I think there's a lot of men out there who are like you in a sense where they just feel stuck. They just feel so wrapped in it, so, you know, drug driven mentally, where it's like, okay, this is my hit, this is my quick fix, this is, you know, my stress relief, and, you know, when I'm going through something that I don't have control of, I'm gonna go to this because I do have control in it, and, you know, I am getting off mentally, physically, and
the quick stimulus.
Yeah, quick. It's that quick fix.
Yeah.
Quick fix. And so that's why I say, like, being non-judgmental to the fact that the person that might be sitting in front of you could have all of these dark things, these little nasty things, but that doesn't necessarily dictate who he is. That doesn't define who you are as a person, as a human, as, you know, the man that you are. So
And I appreciate you for saying that, because like just going back to the first conversation and like telling you that I wasn't watching porn and like this is what my thoughts on porn are, and then fast forwarding to me being back in that dark place.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how to like tell you.
Yeah.
Just because like, okay, I'm back in this dark place. Like how do I even like bring this up? Yeah. Like I'm already like I'm stuck, but I'm not thinking I'm stuck because I'm trying to get that, like whatever I'm going to, that uncertainty, like I'm trying to get that quick fix. So like I'm just gonna go back to what I'm used to, which is the hiding it, which is the not trying to just
sneaky.
Just not pushing it out there. Yeah. So like just not thinking that it's affecting you is just gonna affect me. Yeah. Like you're fine over there, but I'm gonna just have my own cake. Yeah.
And eat it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And obviously like fast forward, like now, obviously that was not the right thing to do.
It's like, it's so much better. I've always said, it's so much better to just be honest, because the truth always does come to light. Yeah. And I remember the million times that I'd asked you.
Yeah. You asked me a lot.
Yeah. I asked you a lot. I was like, dude, something is off.
You know.
Like, okay, I'm seeing all this stuff in your social medias. I'm seeing all this stuff like that's just popping up on your feed. Like, obviously I've learned with social media that the only thing that's keep popping up is the things that you interact with.
Yeah.
And so in my heart I knew, okay, he's actually like looking at this stuff. But you know, you're good
Denial.
at you're good at denial, you're good at lying and good at hiding. And so I think like listening to that gut feeling, which was, I know that there's something deeper that's going on. I know that there's something pulling you away from me. And you know, it was that whole period of, you know, because it didn't start necessarily until I got pregnant, correct? Yeah. And so that whole period where I literally did not feel that disconnect from you until it started. And so I remember just being so vocal about it and just asking you the questions of like, is this going on? Like, you can tell me.
Yeah. No.
Like, I knew that I created that safe space for you
did.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
Not so much towards the end. You know, I didn't create that safe space for you.
Yeah, but it fell on me, you know? It fell on me because you created a safe place or a safe space, and I had to go with it, or I had to just be open, be transparent, be honest. And it's like, I tell you, be vulnerable. And I tell you now, like, okay, you could create the safe space for me, but I also have to create it for myself. So, and I didn't create it for myself where I felt like I could just tell you and be open, vulnerable, and transparent with you about it.
Yeah.
And that's just, obviously that's me being stuck in that darkness where I don't want anyone else to see it, to hurt by it.
And no one did. No one did. You know, I look back at that time and I think you portrayed a lot of, I don't know if the right word is like cockiness, but you were just really confident. You know, at that time you were training to go to the NFL, and, you know, you probably mentally felt like a little bit better because you were out there and you were training and you're kind of doing what, you know, you're passionate about. But then it was like right when you got home, it was just back into the darker mentality. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people, I mean, no one other than me had seen that side of you. And so like portraying it and like portraying like, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm strong. Like, I think for men, you look a lot weaker when you're vulnerable and when you're like sensitive to your partner, or, you know, emotional and, you know, opening up about the stuff that's going on in your head, you know, your stress, your deep thoughts, your reoccurring thoughts that like constantly come up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like, even at that time, like, okay, I was training to go to the NFL, and like, okay, I'd be outside and I'd be really confident in everything.
Great.
Yeah. And then I'd come home and I'm back to those deep thoughts, I was staying up late at night and nothing, video games, but at the same time, like, you stay up late at night and you're
alone.
I was alone. You were asleep. I was just like, I was in my head.
Yeah.
So like that didn't help at all. And just like everything that I hoped for or I thought that was going to play out with my future. Yeah.
Your life. Yeah.
It didn't really go the way I thought or wanted it to go. So like you started having the, like you say, like you start having the stress, you start having the insecurities, you start having those just the negative thoughts on it. Yeah. And it just eats at you, especially if you're not being open, you're not being transparent. And I wasn't doing that to you. Yeah. I wasn't telling you anything. I wasn't letting you in. So I closed off a part of myself. And even though you're asking me, I'm giving you this.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, no, you did. Yeah, your gut, your intuition told you everything. And
a woman's intuition is so spot on, I feel like.
No.
And especially when you're like strong in the Lord as well too. Like I think, like I had felt, I had dreams, you know, I had feelings, you know, I had all these things that were just screaming at my spirit to just kind of like this is, there is something. And I didn't, you know, I wasn't even thinking that it was necessarily porn, because when we had our conversation, it was, you know, I disagree with it. You know, I heard you. I get it. I'm not going to do this. Da, da, da. And so I'm just thinking, you know, damn, like, is he cheating on me? Is there something going on the side? Like that's more like what my mind was going to. And so I think, when it happened, like when you had gotten caught, we'll go into a little bit about it. But obviously that night, because it was, you know, a little bit after, a couple months after our engagement, actually. Mm-hmm. And there was, the night that you had gotten caught, I was sleeping, you know, you were sleeping next to me basically. And I remember waking up at like, oh my gosh, 3 a.m. something. It was just one of those times where I was like, where you already know that when you're waking up, at those times, you're supposed to like pray. And so
it's when God's talking to you.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so I remember waking up and just so vividly, it was like I was sitting there, I turn and look at you, and obviously your phone's like all propped up, like super weird, you know? And I'm like, why? Like I already thought that's weird, that's random. Like why did he fall asleep like this? and I just remember turning around, trying to go back to sleep, and it was like a screaming in my head. Scream, like, check his phone. And you know, you already know, like, when you get like those gut feelings, like it's just, and so I already hated doing that, but I was like every time that I would try to go back to sleep, it was like a scream, like, oh my gosh, like just playing. Already. Yeah. And I remember just opening it up, and it was just straight on
it
to what it was.
Yep.
Everything that you were watching.
Exactly.
And it was, you know, we woke up. I woke you right up, and I was like, come on, we're going to talk about this. What the heck is this? You know, like, what is going on? And right then and there I knew, and I was like, because obviously before then you already knew that I was praying for whatever it was that was going on with you.
Dark comes to light.
To come to light.
Yeah.
And so I remember just praying super hard about it, and I like instantly knew that like right when I found it that like this is what's going on. And so obviously I'm hurt. Obviously, you know, time goes by and you broke off our engagement, and you know, I was completely just distraught because I feel like it would have been easier if you had cheated on me, you know, because it was something one that I was used to. You know, I'd been in relationships in the past where I had gotten cheated on, but I didn't know how to navigate the fact that the person that I love and care so much about knew exactly what it was that was going to hurt me, like knew exactly what it was that was going to probably end a relationship. And figuring out that that's what you were doing, I didn't know how to navigate, how to get through it, you know, because obviously I've seen my parents who went through it for, oh my gosh, 30 years and had no idea. And so I've already seen that bad outcome. I've already seen, you know, the longer you stay in it, where it can lead you to. You know, might have not been a jail cell, but, you know, it could have led to physically cheating on me.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Which would have ended it completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me.
No, for sure.
Because, you know, that's not what I put up with.
Exactly.
But, you know, like, that was probably one of the hardest things, you know. The second was seeing that there was other people that looked nothing like me. And so I'm over here thinking, oh my gosh, like my pregnancy body, I went into, it's about me. Instead of you.
Yeah.
I was selfish in the fact that, you know, he's not satisfied with me. He's not satisfied with my body. He's not satisfied with, you know, what it is that I bring. And obviously that wasn't the case. But, you know, you go into more of like a critical thinking of yourself.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to a lady after the fact that I had posted that post about, you know, how do you go about not viewing yourself so negatively.
Yeah.
To the fact where, like, you have no confidence, you know, your self-value is just down the drain, like, depressed, you know, you have anxiety when we're going out because, you know,
You don't.
oh my gosh, is he gonna look at this girl who looks exactly like the chick that he was watching on the camera?
Yeah.
And so developed my own addiction to women, to constantly comparing myself to who it was, what it was you were watching, who's around us. And it took a long time, and it's still stuff that I'm working on, that, you know, it wasn't me, like, to a sense. It wasn't me to like push you to do that. You know, so like you could explain like what it is that you were, you know, that night, kind of. We'll go into like more of that night, like what it was that kept you like going, what it is that, you know, what it was that you were feeling throughout that.
I mean, so going into, okay, so we get engaged, and then shortly after we moved to Vegas, and it's just us. It's just us going through everything. We're already having financial problems.
Yeah.
So if, like, to me, it felt like there was so much like weight on my shoulders that the only thing I knew to go to was
your stress reliever.
Yeah, was porn.
Yeah.
And it's like as sad or as bad and unfortunate as that was, like, I didn't see it as, obviously it wasn't making me not like stressed financially anymore.
Yeah.
But like in the moment,
it was pulling you out of your reality.
Yeah, for that moment, right? And even like that night, I was up till whatever time,
late
playing the game, and then I have my phone right there, and then like I have the thoughts that are telling me like just watch porn, like look something up, right? So
I think it's good to say how, though, because, you know, it started on one thing and then it led to the next thing.